and welcome to The Right Track. Today I have a really fun guest on the show who's also a friend of mine, Ayla Kell. She is best known for Make It or Break It, and she was just in a very cool new movie called Terrorize. It's going to be, I guess, premiered at the Hollywood Horrorfest, is it?
Yeah.
This year. And so maybe you don't know this about her, but she's also a musician, and I'm going to definitely dive into that and ask her some questions about what she's up to these days and musically, acting, and everything. So, Ayla, what's up? Welcome to the show.
Hi. And I was just commenting, it's fun because we are actually friends, and so it's cool to be able to sit down and talk to you so formally.
Yes.
So I'm excited.
I know. She's like, well, you already know what's going on with me. This is going to be redundant. We actually just did a blues jam.
Yeah.
We were singing for this band, so we've been in the car for 30 minutes both ways. We've had a car ride and a lunch and then a whole jam session. But yes, what's up with me? I
know. What's up with me is it's been really busy for me right now. I had a movie come kind of out, not all the way out, and then we won some awards for that for a couple different horror festivals and for Best New Feature, and then I have another one coming up in a couple of months. I actually sing in both of those movies, and in one of them I even play piano in it. So awesome. I actually am doing music for multiple different projects right now, which I know fits the bill of The Right Track so perfectly. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Well, okay, so tell me a bit about Terrorize and what your role was in it, and I want to hear about the song.
Yeah,
too.
So my character name was Lisa for that one, and the other person that was in that was Riker Lynch, who is a bassist. He played with R5, and now he's on his own doing Riker and the Beachcombers. I hope I'm saying that right. So he's also a super talented musician, and I was really excited when I saw that there was a scene in the movie where we go to a karaoke bar, and
that's awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
And of course, during one of the music rehearsals, they were like, "Are you comfortable with karaoke?" And I was like, "No."
Hold my beer.
I was like, "No, I've never done that." No, it fit perfectly. And one of the songs I did was House of the Rising Sun.
Perfect.
Which is, she knows, I think that's one of my go-to songs.
You have an amazing rendition of that song.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And then the other one was a song called Joey by Concrete Blonde. I don't know if you've ever heard that song. You would crush it. You should check it out separately.
After.
Check it out after, but it is such a perfect song for you. And then we had a few different ones that were written just for the movie that were singing in the car and stuff like that. So essentially what happens in the whole film is it's all shot as found footage, and me and my boyfriend and my best friend are heading to a music festival when essentially we get stuck down in the desert. So it is very hectic, but I got to sing, so that was cool. But it really is, it's a different kind of a film, and one of the questions I get the most about it is about the way that we shot it, because it is all found footage. So it's all either, because everybody has their phones, so it's a lot of shooting looking like it's from phones, looking like it's from our cameras, looking like it's security footage. So it was a really challenging shoot, because it's not like, hit your mark, say your line, do your thing. It was a very different filming experience, so I get a lot of questions about that. And then just to completely nerd out, because I am a film nerd, the colorist colored each of the cameras differently, so they all had a different look, which I think is such a small intricacy of this film. But it was cool getting to work with Riker and be around other music people and have that. It was so fun to be able to walk over and be like, "How did that sound?" And he was like, "That was good." I was like, "Okay, I actually feel like it was good now. Thank you."
That's awesome.
I needed that.
So were you actually filming selfie videos of yours?
Some of it, part of it? Some of it is shot as selfie videos. Yeah. And so there are little Easter eggs through it when we're shooting ourselves, and we're not supposed to be able to have noticed what was behind us.
Of course, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But there's a couple of those, but a lot of it is like you do, taking stories of your friends, at a pool, and it's just that kind of stuff, all strung together to make a movie. So the way that they organized it, I feel really grateful. I'm not going to say I feel really bad. I feel really grateful for our editors, because they did an amazing job.
And like, what a cool concept.
It is such a cool concept.
Works for now.
Yeah.
Everyone's so used to watching stories and everything like that.
And we even used Delaney Bishop, who was the writer and director of that, even used, and I thought this was so smart because it wasn't a thing then yet. Mm-hmm. He even created a whole idea of a face filter that would be like a Halloween mask almost that appeared digitally. Yeah. And so he created that for the movie where it like glitches out on a couple of these characters as they're attacking people and like doing all of this like stuff as their like anonymous mask that they're hiding behind. But now we just accept filters as something that make us all look really amazing. But he used it as something I thought really cool. Yeah. So that was another part of what pulled me into doing this project. I just thought it was such a unique idea.
That's awesome.
That's that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you have a new band, or you're a duo now as well. So I wanted to know what that project was, and if you wouldn't mind telling me a bit about it, and what kind of your, where we can find your songs and things like that.
Yeah. So the new band is called And Again, and it is with Jesse Bouvier, who is himself a film composer and wanted to do something a little bit more, not current, but a lot of film composition music is orchestral. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to do something more modern and more bluesy and really kind of dark, grungy kind of sounding, which my voice definitely lends well to. We are in the process of putting out the full album right now, which is really exciting. Awesome. And it is a whole heck of a lot of work. I mean,
right, of course.
God. So 6 are fully written, ready to rock and roll, and 6 have lyrics to go. And then those will be coming out too. But I'm playing bass and he's playing guitar. It's just the two of us, really. But he has done such an amazing job. I know you know this feeling when you work with somebody who's just so smart at music. Mm-hmm. It is just amazing to watch them work.
Yeah.
It really is. I feel like a little...
ideas they come up with. You're like, how did you...
How did those pieces connect in your head and go, oh, it should sound like this. Let me push all these buttons and make it sound like... Yeah. It blows my mind sometimes. Yeah. And we actually got to record something during Stay at Home for Terrorize. We lost the rights to one of our songs, and so they sent us over some stuff and said, can you guys just like write something and record it and we'll put it in? And so, hilariously, I got way more excited. I'm in the whole movie. I got way more excited when I saw his name up on the screen than I did me being in the entire film. I was like, look, that's you. And he was like, your face is literally the whole movie. I was like, yeah, but that's you. So I got all excited about that. So we actually wrote something that ended up being in that and is available on Spotify. So
what's the name of it?
That one ended up being, we went through like 4 different renditions of what it was going to end up being called. But that one was, what did we end up calling it? Oh, I think we went with That's You, because we had to, it was covering a right, where it's just close enough to not be an infringement of somebody's rights musically, because it was already cut together and timed for it. So we just did a kind of a, mocked version of it, but it came together pretty good.
Where can someone listen to it?
It's on Spotify. The whole album, the whole soundtrack for Terrorize is
Terrorize soundtrack, Spotify.
Yeah.
And then you guys also put out a music video.
Yeah,
I remember that, and that was pretty recent. Well, I say recent, but then again, there's my concept of time these days is like, how long ago was that?
Yikes! That was probably
half a year.
Probably about 7 months ago. Yeah. For There's a Time is that song, and it was originally at the beginning of Stay at Home, we got really into watching the Andy Griffith Show. And we watched like so much Andy Griffith, but that song we originally picked up, because it's a cover, that one we originally picked up from an episode of Andy Griffith. The Darlings
inspired, and you were like, okay,
the Darlings do this song, There Is a Time, and it has a very haunting kind of a sound to it. And Jess just did his thing and picked it up and went, we can make this sound really cool. And so we did. And it was all recorded in our closet. So,
wow, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turned out really nice.
Yeah, and then we just like wandered around.
Yeah, the concept of the video, what was that?
So the concept of the video was rising of day and the dropping of day. Mm-hmm. And so the whole idea of it is, the song is, mm-hmm. there is a time of love and laughter. There is a time. So it really is speaking to moments in someone's life and how the idea of happiness being far away. Mm. So we kind of tried to make it feel like you were constantly waiting for something to happen, mm-hmm. like you're waiting on happiness. And what all of us have had to put off so many things. The idea of happiness being down there and it'll come at some point felt very real and very true for us. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people, because a lot of people have really connected with it. So mm-hmm. that felt good. Plus, it's just a cool song. Yeah. We play it. We still play it, like, at home a lot. Like, just the two of us, like, sitting.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
You guys will do a show someday, right? I'd like to see that.
Yeah. We want to do a show with, like, some beautiful woman. No.
Me?
Yes. Yeah. So we want to.
Let's get on the
We
same
want to
bill
line something up so it can be the two of us together.
That could happen in the next couple months. Yeah. We could just line something up.
I'm excited.
Play a gig in Hollywood.
I'm excited. That'd be cool. That'd be so fun. I'm sure she will keep you updated and apprised of all upcoming shows and events.
So tell me a little bit about your background in music. So first of all, we all know that you had like a really big run on that show.
Mm-hmm.
You call it MIOBI.
I call it MIOBI.
The acronym or whatever.
Yeah. It's a lot easier than Make It or Break It when you're having to say that a lot.
Which you were a gymnast on the show. Yeah. And you were actually a gymnast in real life.
Yeah.
But did you do any music on the show?
There was only one time that we ever sang on the show, and it was not like, it wasn't like
happy birthday.
It wasn't like I would consider to be singing.
Yeah.
But all through the time that I was on the show, I was still doing Friday night jams like every week pretty much. So at no point did I ever stop doing music.
Okay.
It just became more of a for fun and less of a focus, and it's not like I would ever stop doing music. I grew up with my dad being a drummer and he's a musician. And so it was always prevalent in my life to have music around.
Yeah.
My mom is not musical. We don't let her hold a tambourine, but she really loves it. She's a dancer.
That's messed up. She can't even know.
No, she gets to dance. She's a great dancer.
Okay.
So we let her dance. But but she's always had music on in the house. And I mean, I grew up with the Rolling Stones just blasting all day, every single day.
So she's a huge music fan.
Huge music fan. Yeah. And then obviously my dad is a musician. And so they were really insistent that I learn piano first.
Yeah.
And so of course I learned piano first. I think everybody
How old were you?
Kind of does. Oh, probably 5 or 6 when I first got into piano.
Okay.
And really I had already done LA Opera when I was 4. So I already had some experience doing music stuff and being around that kind of music and the power of people singing, especially when you're doing, because I did LA Opera with Placido Domingo. And
I don't know what that is. Can you tell me what that
is? Placido Domingo is like...
I know who that is.
Oh, okay.
But what is LA Opera? What is
so LA Opera is it's Los Angeles' only opera house, really.
Okay.
It's in downtown.
It's like a program for kids? Or
no, it's like a full... It's the opera house. Okay. And they hire young kids for playing kids in the opera.
Oh,
so
okay.
I played a kid in the opera.
Oh, got it. Okay, got you. Yeah.
So I did... The first one that I did was Madame Butterfly, and that's the one that I did with Placido. And I was standing next to, somebody who is obviously a massively... There's no microphones. They're massively powerful singers. And I think that I got so intrigued and inspired by that, that I have never stopped trying to sing really loud. I think that's the one problem for me, is that I'm constantly like, so you want me to be really loud? Cool, got it.
Yeah.
But I think that that's when I started to really fall in love with the idea of singing. And then, of course, my parents made me take piano, as every kid does. And then I booked a movie when I was really young playing accordion, playing young Barbara Mandrell. And I did not play accordion. They sent me to go to a lesson. I picked it up and won because I had already played piano, and they went, great, we're not even going to loop it. We'll just have your 5-year-old play accordion in this movie. So music has gone alongside of everything I've done every single step of the way. So fast forward to MIOB and, you know, doing gymnastics stuff 24/7, which is just, it's a lot of training.
It's gotta be demanding.
Oh my God, it is.
I can imagine.
There is no time at the end of the day for like, I think I'm going to write some music today.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen. So I was doing jams. I got really into playing bass, and I also play violin, which I was playing more than I am currently. But I got really into bass and other more fun instruments, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just kept jamming and have kept on jamming until finally Jess said, do you want to start a band? And so here we are. We have officially made the move, and now we're making music. So it's really exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool because, you know, no matter what you're doing, even on a demanding show or whatever's going on in life, as long as I've known you, you've always had music as a thing.
Because you've been to the family jams.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, and they've been fun.
It is fun. It is fun. It's a really great way for everybody to be able to celebrate something they love to do, because you're not doing it for any monetary purposes. If I
the jams, you're just there to have fun.
But with music in general, if I never made any money on it, I would still absolutely 100% do it just because I love it. Just because it's something that speaks to my soul and what I want to do, you know? And I'm sure for you, there are times where it's like, I just need to make music right now. I just need to do music stuff.
Absolutely. And so, like, although, okay, let me rephrase this question. Like, so how would you give someone advice? Like, if somebody wanted to do what you've done, right?
Yeah.
Like, acting, music, how would you give them advice to, like, how to break into some of that?
Yeah, sure. I would say that with acting, and I preach this super hard as much as I can, it's not about looking pretty. Yes, that's a factor, but it's not about looking pretty. It's about really honing your craft and work on your craft, because if you don't love to do the work, you don't love acting, because it's demanding as hell. You gotta be in it.
You're coaching acting these days.
I am.
Which is why even earlier at lunch I was like, show me how to be sad. And you had this like really like theoretical,
it was a really long answer.
And I was like, whoa, whatever you did. But I mean, I did get it. I definitely understood that you were like, you got to come from like a deeper place. You were talking about, tell me like a bit about the coaching and how you would.
Kind of the way that I rock and roll is I have a mix of like a Stella Adler, Stanislavski kind of style, where I do a lot of action words, and you're really defining
action words. That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
And all of my kids that I coach, if they're seeing this, they're like, yes, the words, because I am so into this. But figuring out what you really want and then using tactics to get it. So those tactics are your action words, and they're your verbs that you're doing. So to do something. So right now I'm doing to teach. Yeah. I'm doing to explain. I'm doing to reiterate. And so it really is making it as specific and authentic as you can. And that's, so many people think, but I can cry on command. I can totally be an actor. And it's so different than that. It's super different than that. But the other thing is finding a way to build a community of people and to build a level of getting out there and doing the networking and meeting the right people, because you can do all the talent, you can have all the talent, you can do all the work, but if you're not starting to put yourself out there and meeting the right people, it's never going to go anywhere. And that goes all the way down to getting the right agent and the right manager, the right team. You need all the right people.
Okay, that brings up another question. So now that we've, dealt with the last couple years, auditions can be done self-taped remotely. Yeah. So is it worth moving out of this area? Because how do you network online? I mean, is that a thing now? Or
that's a great question.
Is it important? At least if you've made a name for yourself, if you're Joe Rogan and you want to move to Texas, okay, like at that point, right?
Texas wants you, man.
If you're, up and coming, like, it's probably still important to be here, right? To take meetings in person and to
I would say more,
network.
I think it's coming back around to being more important to be in town, especially if you're up and coming, because a lot of times because I obviously help a lot of people with self-tapes, because all auditions right now are self-tapes. And one of the main things that they put in there is, and where are you based? Because they're not going to run the risk, especially right now, of flying people, putting people up, doing all of this stuff if it is shooting in town. So I would say that Los Angeles...
Why is it a risk?
I think that there's a risk because I think it's a two-factor thing. I think that they want to make sure that there isn't any sort of waiting time for you to be able to work right away. They don't want to wait for anybody to have to quarantine or do anything like that. But also, they don't have to spend the money. There's so many actors in Los Angeles right now who are hungry, thirsty for it, that they don't have to spend the money of fly somebody in. Yeah. If it's a smaller break-in kind of a role. Right. Once you hit a different level, it gets to being offer only, and it gets to live wherever the heck you want, you know? Yeah. But I think that right now, especially for smaller roles, since they're trying to bring back movies of the week, which if they brought back movies of the week, it would be like every actor's dream, because that just like quadruples the amount of work every week.
Tell me about movies of the week.
Oh, you don't remember this from... Oh, man, this was huge when we were in like high school.
I don't remember.
But there used to be like a movie of the week every week, and it would be...
On what network?
Oh, man, I'm trying to think now of what it was on. It was on like... Not CW, but it was something like CW. Hallmark. Hallmark, yeah. It was on Hallmark, and they used to do it like every week, and now they just do it during Christmas. But that is a ton of work for actors, and I just like seeing more work for actors. It makes me so happy to see. But I would say that living in Los Angeles is still obviously the best place you can be to do this type of work, even though you can audition from anywhere.
Yeah. And nothing is really, like, a lot of things aren't even shot here, though. No. So, you know, you see an ever-changing industry, obviously. And how do you stay, you know, on top of, like, all the changes and...
Boy, it takes a lot of reading. Yeah. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of making sure you're watching the trades, making sure that you're watching TV. I mean, that's a big one, because even acting has trends. And, you know, it's if you're not staying current on what's current, you have no idea what's going on. Because a couple of years ago, shows like, I mean, I'm trying to think of, what's the one that Zendaya's on? Euphoria. Yeah. A show like Euphoria never would have happened. Our Euphoria was what? Degrassi? Like, it's just, those are totally different shows. And if you didn't, like, know, if you didn't watch and you did Degrassi style going in for Euphoria, they're not going to hire you. Yeah. So I think also paying attention to what's current, what kind of, this is a big one. I just got into it with one of my kids about this week. If you go in for a single cam drama movie, like it's a sitcom, you've shot yourself in the foot. Pay attention to the pacing, pay attention to the energy of the show, and they give you that information on your sheet. They tell you all of the stuff you need to know. So basically, as always, pay attention to the details. I think that's huge in music, is paying attention to the details, because you know when somebody hasn't polished something. You can feel when it's not quite finished, when it hasn't been done as well as it could have been. So pay attention to the details, and it is a lot of details to be an actor. Yeah. You don't just show up and hit your mark and say your lines. Yeah. Counter to what 30 Rock would have you believe. You know, it's a lot more than that. Yeah. Yeah. And then on the music side, not enough people talk about this, but I know you'll know what I'm saying. It is important as a singer to play an instrument. Like, yeah. Right? A lot of singers, especially, they come to me like, how can I be a good singer? I'm like, do you play an instrument? Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you're already behind. Or if they're like, yeah, I play the piano and guitar. I'm like, yes, good. Absolutely. Like, can you just explain how important it is and how much, like, I don't know, I guess richer the experience is and how much better your theory is when you play an instrument and also sing? The music theory... You have such a different understanding of placement. Yeah. You have such a different understanding of how things go together. Because if you're able to look at a piano and mentally go, okay, so if I sing it here and I wanted to make it kind of fancy, and so I'm going to come up here and back down, if you have that sort of visual acuity and ear for it, because as soon as you play an instrument, you've added, I mean, thousands potentially of hours of playing an instrument. So it just makes you that much more in tune.
Yes.
With
I
music.
See what I did there.
Yes. So that's horrible. But it just makes you so much more aware of the nuances of the music. Mm-hmm. It makes you appreciate it differently. And every time you pick up a new instrument, every time you learn a new song, every time you venture into something new with your music, you listen to music differently.
Yeah.
And you hear it differently.
Everything grows.
Yes.
Like your concept, that your ear, a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it completely changes it. Also, you're no longer reliant on somebody else
to play for you.
Mm-hmm.
Or the karaoke version in the original key.
Right.
It's like you can transpose it to
you
whatever
can do
you
whatever
want.
You have musical freedom
mm-hmm.
as soon as you pick up an instrument. It makes a huge difference, because I have seen a lot of people where it's like, okay, I want to sing something. Who can play for me?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And that's such a poopy position to put yourself in. I don't like that I said poopy. Sorry. I said it more now.
Whatever. Who cares?
I made it worse. I made it so much worse.
Would you like to rephrase that?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
How many instruments do you play? Name them. You played a bunch. Bass?
Yeah. I play bass is my main one, I would say. I play piano. I'm a proficient guitarist, but not excellent. It wouldn't be my first choice if I'm given a choice. Mm-hmm. I do play accordion. I play violin. I play harmonica. I play accordion. Did I already say that? I play, what else? I play a recorder like nobody's business. No.
Oh, really?
I am working on banjo is the newest one I've picked up.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
It is cool.
That's really cool.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
Than everything else I play. Yeah, like half of it is back. It's nuts.
I've never picked up a banjo. I don't think.
Bring it to you next time. But it is weird.
Yeah, as you know, I just learned how to play ook.
Yeah.
Since not I guess it started around November.
Yeah.
Of like last year, so not that long, and it's totally different, right? Yeah. The strings are totally different from a guitar.
Totally different.
But it's kind of nice to be able to like get the calluses on my fingers with something so small and delicate, so that when I do play guitar, it's it's already there, and my fingers are stronger. And whatnot.
And I feel like I play a lot of instruments. I really don't play a whole lot of winds. I'll play harmonica, but I don't play a whole lot of winds. But Jess plays like mandolin and saxophone.
Oh, really? Ooh, he could come to the blues jam.
Yeah, he would be great at that. But I mean, I've never seen him pick up an instrument and look uncomfortable, which is also annoying. Because like I work hard at like learning stuff, and he's like, "Oh, you want to do this?" Nerd. But he is a full composer, and that's a whole different type of knowledge. So I guess my next thing that I'd say with music is working with the right people. Mm-hmm. Yes, play an instrument. Yes, work endlessly at your craft and sing until you drive everyone around you absolutely nuts. But bigger than that, bring in the right people. Mm-hmm. Hire professionals when you need to, and bring in people who really understand how music works. Because he recently did a song with Melissa Carter. Turned out really cool. But man, does she understand what she's doing. She's like, I sent you a few different lines, and just seeing how the two of them collaborated and knocked a song out so fast was watching two absolute professionals go, hey, let's do something together. And it just worked so beautifully. Yeah. So
I find it funny how fast, like the songs that really have potential, they come together quickly. It's just everything kind of aligns, and it wasn't a big deal. And then the ones that you're taking, I'll see you next week. Yeah, multiple sessions. Those aren't usually the ones you end up loving the most.
Yeah, they're always dragging. Yeah. And collaboration. I don't know if you have spoke much to this on this. Collaboration is a huge part of music.
I have spoken about this.
Yeah.
It's very rare that someone just sits in their room writing songs by themselves. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, or some people, they give up too quickly. They're like, I started writing a song, and then I got writer's block, and now I haven't touched it in 6 months.
Yeah. And then that's where you collaborate with somebody.
Yeah. Bring in someone else.
Yeah.
There can be too many people in a room. Like, I've been in sessions where there's like 5 different people and everybody's got ideas, and I'm like, wow.
No, that's too much.
But 2 or 3 people, is a good number.
And if you find somebody that you work great with, do that. Mm-hmm. Work with them just all the time, nonstop. And I think that that's a lesser mentioned
until somebody loses interest.
Yeah. Because so many times you look at, how many times certain producers work with people over and over and over again, and you go, man, they are just making magic over there.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really interesting to see Billie Eilish and her brother, who is her producer, just knock it out of the park continuously.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool to give producers that sort of accreditation like she does her brother. I think that's awesome to see. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When something works, it works.
It works.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
And it takes a long time to find those kinds of people.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. But I think that...
Like Raymond Jones. Yeah. So, I worked with him for like 2 years. We did a lot of stuff. And it's great. You know, we just get in a room and it just works. And it goes and it works. And yeah, I mean, that's rare and it's hard to find. And so, like you said, you come to somewhere like LA.
Yes.
Because you have to shuffle through a lot of different people, collaborators to find the matches. And that's another thing that should be... It takes time. That should definitely be said is...
What I have a few actually. One of the perks of living in LA is there's a lot of people out here doing the things that you're doing, right? There's a lot of there's a lot of producers, there's a lot of composers, there's a lot of musicians, and a lot of people look at that as a bad thing. That's literally a whole network of people you can work with now.
Right.
It's not
your
just
competition.
Yeah, it's not competition.
Your
that's somebody you want to work with. Get in there and do that and learn from them and do those things. But also, if you collaborate with somebody and it doesn't go great,
no hard feelings.
No hard feelings. Don't burn the bridge. Just no hard feelings. This didn't work great. Let me try with somebody else and see how it is. And just figure out if, you know, it's a little trial and error.
Yeah.
Figuring out doing music stuff. It's not, if you were perfect at it the first time, you would be really annoying, is what I have to say. Nobody's perfect at it the first time. You have to get out there and try, and you have to fail. And that goes for acting, too. I mean, how many auditions do so many people go on before they book anything ever? So it is just, you know, putting yourself out there, and you get, not a thick skin, but you get really good at not seeing no as just rejection. I love that line.
I was like, did everyone hear that? That was a great line.
Because that's a big one for, you know, I think for actors. Because usually I go, do you have any notes? I'm always asking, does anybody have any notes? How was that? Do you have anything to say? What did you think? Yeah. And so it's an opportunity. Yes. It's an opportunity to grow from why you didn't book that, from why that song didn't totally work, from why that show didn't go so great. Well, what was different about that one from other ones? Or what do I need to fix in my system, in my process to make it better next time? So that's a big one. I'm a big systems person. I don't know if you've ever read Atomic Habits. Oh, man. He's all about building systems. So instead of saying, I want to get better at piano. So instead of, you know, going, well, I want to get better at piano. All right, I'm going to go do something else. It's instead building a system of every morning when I get my coffee, I go and sit at the piano for 10 minutes.
Even if it's 10 minutes,
Even
right?
if it's 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But then it starts being built into your system of, well, I have coffee. I should sit at the piano.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I do next, you know, and I do that every morning with my reading. I grab a cup of coffee and I read usually 30 minutes every morning. Cool. And so that's a system for me. And so it's easy. It's satisfying when I do it. And, you know, it's a good thing. So building systems and not just like long-term endless goals. Because how many times have you gone, this year I'm going to blank?
Yes.
And then you say Happy New Year to everybody and you're like, damn, I did not do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Way too often.
Yeah.
So instead of having these like long-term goals that just feel infinite because there's no consequences ever, making it a little bit more immediate of, I want to do this every day.
Yeah.
I want to finish this week. I'm going to learn this song by the end of the week, even if it's not a hard song. Just, you know, give yourself a finite goal. And I think that makes a really big difference.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, dude, thanks for sharing all this. Like, you've given some really good nuggets.
Yeah. And if you're not doing your affirmations every morning, get into it.
Okay.
Or do you do your affirmations?
I do. I have a little post-it on my mirror, bathroom mirror.
I like that.
It's called New Self. Paloma 2.0.
I love that.
Yeah.
We're all different versions all the time, aren't we? Yeah. I think that doing the affirmations and having really positive self-talk and not just letting it be talk.
Believing it.
And if you go, I want to be a famous musician. here's an opportunity to do some hard work and write a song. I don't want that. No, you got to actually, when opportunity presents itself, don't just be talk, actually take the action. I think that's a huge thing. So many people say they want something, and then when it comes, there's a joke from Friends of, I'm going to be the lead in a show. This is what I've wanted my whole life. Why wasn't I preparing for this? Yeah, prepare yourself mentally for what you actually want to be doing. Yeah. Like, actually prepare for being the lead in a show, for getting that job, for doing those things. And for our people who sing and are interested in acting, highly recommend voiceover work. Get into it, pay attention to it. Mixing the two. Because I have done a lot of radio commercials that are great gigs. And I think that people who sing have a really great control of their voice and are overqualified.
A shoo-in for voiceover stuff.
Totally qualified for doing VO work. So I always recommend, if your agent doesn't rep you for VO, find one that does.
So, well, anything else you want to add before we wrap?
Stay classy, my friends. I don't know.
Stay classy, Los Angeles.
Stay classy. It can't.
Yeah.
No, I think that it's not that it's gonna be easy, but it is certainly worth it. And if it were easy, everyone would do it. And, you know, there's a reason it's difficult, and there's a reason it's so freaking rewarding. I wouldn't change what I do for anything, would you?
No.
I love what I do.
Yeah, me
and
too.
I don't know a ton of people who get to say that every day. So I feel very blessed.
Amen.
And I'm happy to be here with you, my friend.
Yeah, me too. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming and being on the show.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks for the good nuggets.
Yeah, of course.
That's good advice.
Thanks.
Well, cool. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time on The Right Track. We're going to post Ayla's links below so you can follow her, and we'll see you for the next show on The Right Track.